1. Monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross. Monohybrid cross. A monohybrid cross is a genetic cross between two individuals that differ in a single trait. For example, a tall pea plant and a short pea plant. Mendel selected a pure breed of tall pea plant and crossed it with a pure breed of short pea plant. Pure breed tall means both the alleles for the trait plant height are tall and tall. They are represented by capital T and capital T. Pure breed short means both the alleles for the trait plant height are short. Here they are represented by small t, small t. When these two plants are crossed, in the F1 generation, all tall plants are produced. Here we can see all these plants got one allele tall and the second one short. Since tall allele is the dominant one, the plants express at the trait tallness. So in F1 generation, all plants are tall. Now this F1 generation plants are self-pollinated. Let us understand the outcomes with the help of a Punnett square. The possible combinations of F2 generation are like this: capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, capital T, small t, small t. So here, out of these four possible combinations, three of them are tall and one is short. So the phenotypic ratio of F2 generation is 3:1. Phenotypic ratio means the ratio based on the physical appearance. This is the outer appearance. If we look at the genotypic ratio of the F2 generation, genotypic ratio means the combination of alleles that they have for a trait. Here 1 capital T means both the alleles are of same type, that is tall. So it is a homozygous tall. Homozygous means having both same type of alleles. So it is a pure breed tall pea plant. Next we got 2 capital T and small t's. These are heterozygous tall. Means they have one dominant and one recessive allele. One capital T, one small t. Next we have one small t. This is homozygous short. Here both the alleles are short. So this is a pure breed of short pea plant. So the genotypic ratio of F2 generation is 1:2, 2:1. Now let us see the dihybrid cross in pea plants. In dihybrid cross, we consider two pairs of contrasting characters. Mendel crossed a pure breed of round yellow seeds with a pure breed of green wrinkled seeds. In F1 generation, Mendel got all round yellow seed plants. All of them are heterozygous round and yellow. Now let us observe the F2 generation. When the F1 plants are self-pollinated, the possible outcomes are like this. So here in the F1 generation, we got round and yellow 9, round and green 3, wrinkled and yellow 3, wrinkled and green 1. So the phenotypic ratio is 9:3:3:1. 2. Sex determination. Sex determination. Do you know how the sex of a newborn baby is determined? Sex of a newborn is determined by different factors in different species of animals. In reptiles like snakes and crocodiles, the sex of the newborn will be based on environmental temperature. In case of snails, they can change their sex. So sex is not determined by genes in these animals. But in humans, sex is genetically determined. That means the genes inherited from the parents decides the sex of the newborn baby. Each human cell contains 23 pairs of chromosomes. Out of these 23 pairs, 22 pairs are autosomes and 1 pair is sex chromosomes. Females have a pair of same kind of sex chromosomes XX, whereas males have a different pair of sex chromosomes X and Y. So females are XX and males are XY. Gametes or sex cells are haploid in nature. That means they have only 23 chromosomes. Out of 22 are autosomes and 1 sex chromosome. In males, when the gametes are formed, only one sex chromosome is passed to them. It can be either X or Y. So some sperm cells are formed with X and some with Y. Whereas in case of female gametes, all are X. So all egg cells carry X sex chromosome. During reproduction, if the sperm cell with Y sex chromosome fuses with the egg cell, it forms a zygote with XY sex chromosomes. XY means the baby will be a boy. If the sperm cell with X sex chromosome fuses with the egg cell, it forms a zygote with XX sex chromosomes, means the baby will be a girl. Thus, the sex of the child will be determined by the chromosomes that they inherit from their father. 3. Brain structure and its functions. Nerves. Brain is an important and delicate organ, so it has to be protected well. Brain is covered by a fluid-filled balloon-like structure made up of 3 layers. These layers are called meninges, and the fluid present in between these layers is called cerebrospinal fluid. These layers and the fluid, they protect the brain from shocks and injuries. Brain, along with the meninges, is protected by an outer bony case called as cranium. Cranium is a hard structure that is made up of bone. Brain is the main coordinating center of our body. It receives the information from all parts of the body and integrates it. The main functions of our brain are thinking, decision making, storing information, producing emotions, and controlling body functions. Our body functions are of 2 types, voluntary and involuntary. The functions that are under our control are called voluntary functions. Writing, talking, dancing, clapping, these are the examples of voluntary functions controlled by our brain. The actions that are not under our control are called involuntary actions. Digestion, heartbeat, sneezing are some examples of involuntary actions controlled by human brain. Now let us see which part of the brain controls which functions. The brain has 3 main parts, namely the forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Let us see about forebrain. The thought process takes place in the forebrain. Forebrain has regions which receive sensory impulses from various receptors. The forebrain has different centers for hearing, smell, sight, etc. The information from different sense organs is analyzed and compared with the information already stored in our brain. Based on this analysis, the forebrain takes a decision and sends it to the area of the brain which controls the movements of our voluntary muscles. For example, if we are playing football, our eyes sends the information about the position of the ball to the area of which analyzes it. After analysis, a decision is taken and the information is sent to the area of the brain which executes it. It causes the necessary movements in our muscles and makes us kick the ball in right direction with right force. The sensation of hunger and feeling full is also controlled by a separate area of forebrain. Next we see midbrain. Midbrain controls the visual and auditory reflexes. It also has center for controlling the movements of our eye and eyelids. Hindbrain. Hindbrain has 3 parts, namely pons, medulla oblongata, and cerebellum. These parts control the involuntary functions of our body. Pons controls our sleep and wake cycle and breathing. Medulla controls heart rate, breathing, blood pressure, and more involuntary functions. Next, cerebellum. It is responsible for precision of voluntary actions and maintaining posture and balance of the body. Walking in a straight line, riding a bicycle, drawing an art, all these are possible because of cerebellum. These are the different parts of the brain and their functions. 4. Plant hormones and their functions. Phytohormones. For example, if the plant tip has to bend towards right, the cells in the left side part of the tip get elongated. It makes the plant bend towards right. The elongation of cells in the left half of the plant tip is caused due to a phytohormone called as auxin. Name the major phytohormones and write their functions. The 5 major phytohormones are auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, ethylene, and abscisic acid. Auxins. Auxins stimulate the cells to grow longer. They are responsible for the tropic movements in plants. They are mostly concentrated in the young shoot and root tips. Gibberellins. Gibberellins also helps in the stem and root elongation in plants. Cytokinins. Cyto means cell. Kinesis means division. This means the cytokinins, they promote cell division. They are concentrated in the fruits and seeds where rapid cell division takes place. Abscisic acid. This hormone acts as a growth inhibitor. This helps in the wilting of leaves. Ethylene. This phytohormone stimulates the ripening of fruits. So these are the 5 major phytohormones and their functions. 5. Female reproductive system. Female reproductive system performs 4 important functions. 1. Production of female gametes or egg cells. 2. Secretion of female hormones, that is estrogen and progesterone. 3. Providing necessary conditions for the fertilized egg to develop into a baby. 4. Menstruation. First, let us see the production of female gametes or egg cells. This task is done by the ovaries of the female reproductive system. By birth, girls contain a pair of ovaries. Each ovary contains thousands of immature eggs. On reaching puberty, these eggs start maturing and gets released. Each ovary alternately releases one egg approximately every month. The released egg is collected into a tube called as fallopian tubule. The sperms deposited by the male in the vagina during sexual intercourse travels through the cervix, uterus, and reaches the egg present in the fallopian tubule. If the sperms fertilize the egg, it becomes zygote. This zygote divides repeatedly and forms an embryo. This embryo moves towards the uterus and gets implanted in the wall of the uterus. The lining of the uterus grows new tissues and blood vessels to accommodate the embryo. After implantation, the embryo grows into a fetus. The embryo gets nutrition from the mother's blood with the help of a special tissue called placenta. This is a disc-like structure embedded in the walls of the uterus. This placenta has blood spaces on the mother's side and villi on the fetus side. This arrangement provides large surface area for the exchange of materials between the blood of the mother and the blood of the baby. Here, the nutrients and oxygen are absorbed and wastes are released into the mother's blood. The development of baby inside the mother's womb takes approximately 9 months. This period is called gestation period. The delivery of the baby takes place by the rhythmic contractions of the uterus. What happens if the egg is not fertilized in the fallopian tubule? Every month, the walls of the uterus get lined by blood vessels and tissues in the anticipation of embryo. If the egg is not fertilized and the embryo is not formed, then the unfertilized egg lives for 1 day. After that, the egg gets dissolved and the tissues formed on the lining of the uterus along with the blood slowly breaks and expels out through the vagina. The loss of blood and mucus from the vagina lasts for 2 to 8 days. This process is called menstruation. Since this process is periodical and happens for every 28 days, it is called as menstrual cycle or periods. This is all about the female reproductive system. 6. Methods of contraception. Contraceptive devices and methods. Condom. Condom is a rubbery covering that is worn on the penis during intercourse to prevent the entry of sperms into the female reproductive system. It also prevents the transfer of germs between the partners and give protection from sexually transmitted diseases. Copper T. Copper T is the other contraceptive device that is placed in the uterus of the females to prevent the fusion of sperm cell and egg cell. This device may cause irritation in some people. Next, contraceptive pills. These are the drugs that change the hormonal balance in the female body and stop the release of eggs. The prolonged use of these pills can cause side effects. Next, surgical methods. The vast difference of males is cut and ligated to prevent the release of sperms. In the same way, the fallopian tubules of females are cut and ligated to prevent entry of eggs. These are the permanent methods. But if the surgery is not done properly, it may lead to infections. What if the contraceptives fail and pregnancy happens? Medical termination of pregnancy. Using surgical methods to remove unwanted pregnancy is called medical termination of pregnancy or abortion. In certain sections of our society, sex-selective abortion of female fetus is practiced. This leads to the disturbance of male-female sex ratio in the population. What did the government do to protect the girl child from these false practices? The government has banned the prenatal sex determination to control the misuse of medical termination of pregnancy. Prenatal sex determination means scanning and identification of gender of the fetus. This is all about how organisms. 7. Transportation in human beings. ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट लाइफ प्रोसेस है। ये न्यूट्रिशन, रेस्पिरेशन और एक्सक्रीशन में मटेरियल्स का ट्रांसपोर्ट करता है। हार्ट, ब्लड वेजल्स और ब्लड हमारी ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम का 3 इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट्स हैं। कैसे एक इलेक्ट्रिक पंप पाइप्स में पानी को पंप करती है, बस इसी तरह हार्ट ब्लड वेजल्स में ब्लड को पंप करती है। हमारा हार्ट हमारा मुट्ठी के साइज में होती है। हमारा हार्ट एक मस्कुलर ऑर्गन है और इसमें 4 चैम्बर्स होते हैं। हार्ट 2 काम करती है। पहला काम हमारे बॉडी के डिफरेंट पार्ट से डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड को कलेक्ट करना और इस ब्लड को लंग्स में भेजना। यह काम हार्ट के राइट साइड की चैम्बर्स के द्वारा किया जाता है। दूसरी काम ऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड को लंग्स से कलेक्ट करना और इस ब्लड को बॉडी के डिफरेंट पार्ट्स को भेजना है। हार्ट का लेफ्ट साइड की चैम्बर्स द्वारा यह काम किया जाता है, लेकिन ये दोनों काम एक ही साथ करना पड़ता है। पहले लेफ्ट आर्टरियम और राइट आर्टरियम रिलैक्स होता है, तब लेफ्ट आर्टरियम लंग्स से ऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड पाएगी। राइट आर्टरियम ने बॉडी पार्ट से डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड पाएगी। अब ये दोनों चैम्बर्स कांटेक्ट होने से नीचे रहने वाली 2 चैम्बर्स लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल और राइट वेंट्रिकल्स में ब्लड पंप किया जाता है। अब लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होकर ऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड को बॉडी पार्ट्स में पंप करता है। इसी वक्त पर राइट वेंट्रिकल डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड को लंग्स में पंप करता है। बर्ड्स और मैमल्स जैसे एनिमल्स में 4 चैम्बर्ड हार्ट होती हैं। इन ऑर्गेनिजम्स की सर्कुलेटरी सिस्टम में ऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड और डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड सेपरेटली सर्कुलेट होते हैं। सर्कुलेशन की एक साइकिल में हार्ट से ब्लड 2 बार ट्रेवल करती है, एक बार हार्ट और लंग्स के बीच और दूसरी बार हार्ट और बॉडी पार्ट्स की। इसलिए इस सर्कुलेशन को डबल सर्कुलेशन कहा जाता है। अब हम ब्लड और ब्लड वेजल्स के बारे में पढ़ेंगे। हमारी बॉडी में आर्टरीज, वेन्स और कैपिलरीज नामक 3 प्रकार का ब्लड वेजल्स होते हैं। आर्टरीज ऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड को हार्ट से बॉडी पार्ट्स तक ले जाते हैं। हार्ट से आने वाली ब्लड प्रेशर को रेसिस्ट करने के लिए आर्टरीज को थिक और इलास्टिक वॉल्स की जरूरत होती है। वेन्स ने बॉडी पार्ट से डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड लेकर हार्ट में जमा करते हैं। वेन्स को थिक वॉल्स की जरूरत ना होती है क्योंकि वेन्स में ब्लड प्रेशर कम होती है, लेकिन वेन्स में वाल्व्स होते हैं। इन वाल्व्स की वजह से ब्लड की फ्लो सिर्फ एक ही डायरेक्शन में होती है। सेल्स को मटेरियल सप्लाई करने के लिए आर्टरीज को पतली कैपिलरीज में डिवाइड होना पड़ता है। ये कैपिलरीज दूसरी एंड पर फिर वेन से जुड़ जाते हैं। कोई एक्सीडेंट में ब्लड वेजल्स कट हो गया तो तब हमारे बॉडी से ब्लड का नुकसान होगी। इस ब्लीडिंग को रोकने के लिए ब्लड प्लेटलेट्स लीकेज की साइट पर पहुंचकर उस कट को टेम्पररीली प्लग करते हैं। ब्लड सर्कुलेटरी सिस्टम की तरह हमारा बॉडी में एक और सिस्टम है, वो है लिम्फेटिक सिस्टम। इस सिस्टम में लिम्फ बहती रहती है। लिम्फ एक कलरलेस फ्लूइड है। हमारा ब्लड की लिक्विड पार्ट को प्लाज्मा कहते हैं। यह प्लाज्मा कैपिलरीज की वॉल्स में हुए पोर्स से बाहर एस्केप होती है। यह सेल्स के बीच हुए इंटरसेल्यूलर स्पेसेस में भर जाती है। बाद में ये फ्लूइड लिम्फ बन जाती है। ये लिम्फ लिम्फेटिक कैपिलरीज द्वारा लिम्फ वेजल्स में प्रवेश करती है। फाइनली ये लिम्फ वेजल्स लार्ज वेन्स में खुलते हैं। लिम्फेटिक सिस्टम ने 2 इंपॉर्टेंट काम करते हैं। पहला काम लिम्फ ने इंटेस्टाइन से डाइजेस्टेड फैट्स को एब्जॉर्ब करना। दूसरा काम सेल्स के बीच में डिपॉजिट हुए गए एक्स्ट्रा सेल्यूलर फ्लूइड को कलेक्ट करके ब्लड को वापस देना। यह है एनिमल ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम की मेन पॉइंट्स। अब हम प्लांट्स में ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के बारे में पढ़ेंगे। 8. एक्सक्रीशन इन ह्यूमन बीइंग्स। ह्यूमंस में एक्सक्रीशन के बारे में पढ़ेंगे। सेल्स अपने सेल्यूलर एक्टिविटीज में यूरिया और यूरिक एसिड जैसे नाइट्रोजनस कंपाउंड्स का प्रोडक्शन करता है। वो कंपाउंड्स टॉक्सिक हैं, उन्हें हमारा बॉडी से बाहर हटाना पड़ता है। ये काम एक्सक्रीटरी सिस्टम द्वारा किया जाता है। ब्लड इन कंपाउंड्स को फिल्ट्रेशन के लिए एक्सक्रीटरी सिस्टम में ले जाता है। ह्यूमन एक्सक्रीटरी सिस्टम में 2 किडनीज, 2 यूरेटर्स, एक यूरिनरी ब्लैडर और एक यूरेथ्रा होते हैं। किडनीज में छोटे छोटे फिल्टर्स होते हैं, उनको हम नेफ्रॉन्स कहते हैं। नेफ्रॉन्स किडनी की स्ट्रक्चरल और फंक्शनल यूनिट्स हैं। वो फिल्ट्रेशन द्वारा ब्लड को साफ करता है। हर नेफ्रॉन्स में कैपिलरीज का एक क्लस्टर और एक कप, उसके साथ एक ट्यूब होता है। इस कप को बाउमन्स कैप्सूल कहते हैं। नेफ्रॉन्स ने ब्लड से यूरिया, यूरिक एसिड, क्रिएटिनिन जैसे टॉक्सिक वेस्ट्स को फिल्टर करते हैं। यूजफुल मटेरियल्स जैसी ग्लूकोज, अमीनो एसिड्स और कुछ सॉल्ट्स भी बाउमन्स कैप्सूल में फिल्टर हो जाएगा, मगर बाद में वे फिर ब्लड में रीअब्जॉर्ब हो जाएगा। फिल्टर्ड वेस्ट्स और पानी को हम यूरिन कहते हैं। ये यूरिटर्स के द्वारा यूरिनरी ब्लैडर में जमा होती है। एक बार ब्लैडर फुल हुआ तो ये यूरिनेशन करने की इच्छा पैदा करता है। जब हम ब्लैडर की मसल्स को यूरिनेशन करने के लिए रिलैक्स करते हैं, अब ये यूरिन यूरेथ्रा द्वारा बाहर जाती है। 9 and 10. Food webs and food chains. Energy transfer in tropic levels. And food webs. Living things need energy to live. But from where do they get the energy? Living things get the energy from food. A snake gets energy by eating a rabbit. That means the energy flows from the rabbit to snake. From where do the rabbit get the energy? From the plants it eats. From where do the plants get the energy? They get the energy from the sun. So here we can observe that in an ecosystem, organisms are arranged in a series like a chain. Each organism belongs to a particular trophic level. The organism at the first trophic level supplies the energy and nutrients to the organism at the next trophic level. So this chain is called a food chain. Let's see its definition. A food chain is a series of organisms where each one is eaten by the next, showing the flow of energy in an ecosystem. It starts with a plant or primary producer and goes on to consumers like animals. In any food chain, sun is the ultimate source of energy. Plants convert the solar energy into chemical energy, that is nothing but food. That is the reason why the plants are called producers, because they produce the food. The animals that feed on plants are called primary consumers, and the animals that feed on primary consumers are called secondary consumers. The animals that feed on secondary consumers are called tertiary consumers. So each food chain has different trophic levels. We find producers in the first trophic level, primary consumers in the second trophic level, secondary consumers in the third trophic level, and tertiary consumers in the fourth trophic level. In this food chain, we can observe the flow of energy from one organism to another organism. Now, let us learn some more important points about the flow of energy in a food chain. A plant can convert only 1% of the total sunlight that falls on their leaves into food. The energy in the plant flows into the body of the animal that eats it. Can the animals use the whole energy that is obtained from the plants to build their bodies? No, because most of the energy that flows into the body of the animals is released out in the form of body heat. Some energy is used for digestion and for other physical activities. Only the remaining energy is converted into the body tissues of that animal. On an average, only 10% of energy obtained from food is useful for body growth and development. The rest is spent for various activities. So in a food chain, only 10% of energy from level 1 is available for the level 2. Only 10% of the energy from level 2 is available for level 3. And only 10% of energy from level 3 is available for level 4. So, we can observe a gradual decline of energy from first level to last level. That is the reason why the food chains usually have only 3 to 4 levels. In a food chain, the flow of energy is unidirectional. That means the energy flows from a herbivore to a carnivore, never from a carnivore to a herbivore in reverse direction. The energy available at one trophic level becomes less when it passes to the next level. This is due to the loss of energy at each level. And one more important thing is that the number of organisms in the lower trophic level are very high. As we go up in the trophic levels, we see a decline in the number of organisms at each level. This is about a food chain. Now let us learn about food web. Sometimes one animal found in a food chain of an ecosystem can be a part of another food chain also. That means in an ecosystem, many food chains may be linked with one another. If we present all these food chains in a graphical form, it looks like this. This is called a food web. A food web is a network of interconnected food chains showing the complex relationships and interactions between different organisms in an ecosystem. This is all about food chains. Thanks for watching. Please like the video. Please share this video with your friends. Please subscribe to GRADEBOOSTER channel. Press the bell icon to get all the latest updates. Check the description to find links of other useful videos. Check the end screens for our new videos.